starting on Sunday this week. We have Acumatica's conference, a summit coming up, and I'm going to go ahead and let Dawn speak to that. Dawn Jager over at Acumatica.
Hey, thank you so much, Adrian. First of all, I wanted to thank you for sponsoring these webinars with us. And a big thank you for last year. We had a series of marketing webinars that we did and provided to our existing partners and prospective partners. It was very successful and is another value add that we offer to our channel. Many of you I saw from the registration list are already Acumatica partners. So thank you so much for coming aboard. Thank you for your loyalty and your success with Acumatica, and thank you for being interested in attending this session. We will have future sessions like this throughout the year, and for those of you who are not yet partners of Acumatica, I'm the Director of Partner Recruiting, and I have to at least make a plug for the fact that Acumatica is channel only. We sell nothing direct. We're always looking for good partners. We've got a vibrant channel of existing resellers and ISVs, as you'll see from this presentation, and we welcome great partners into our channel. And with that, it's not too late to actually participate in the Acumatica Summit that is coming up this Sunday. Our format is, it starts on Sunday. We have 2 days of summit followed by 3 days of training. And we're expecting literally hundreds and hundreds of people, both partners and customers, to attend. So for all of you that we're going to see next week, thank you so much for the commitment to attend and safe travels. And be sure when you get there to attend the showcase that will show off our ISV solutions, and particularly APS, Scanco, and StarShip booths. I think you'll get a lot out of it. And they have a special promotion that they've done, and I think you'll enjoy the webcast today as well.
So if you guys do attend the show and you visit each of these booths, at the end of the show you'll be entered to win $1,000. So I just wanted to note that there's an opportunity to win $1,000 cash. So
that is a nice giveaway. Who couldn't use $1,000, right?
Exactly. You get to be in San Diego and have $1,000 extra cash.
There you go.
So Acumatica, we just learned a little bit about Acumatica, and then American Payment Solutions are a leading credit card processing provider. They're an endorsed merchant solutions provider for many restaurant, hospitality, and software companies throughout the United States and Canada. And they're a full-service merchant services provider, and they have the opportunity to, with their credit card processing solution, they have the opportunity to save you a lot of money with your credit card processing transactions. They've been in the industry for a very long time, and so they've learned how to cut costs to offer a very cost-saving credit card processing solution. And Scanco, you've probably heard of them. They're definitely a leader in mid-market warehouse management applications. They've been working with ERP software since 1989, lots of experience, and the great thing about their application is they have real-time warehouse management integration with iOS, Android, and Windows applications, and they're going to be in booth 24, so make sure you stop by and visit them if you're going to be at the Acumatica Summit show. And then StarShip, you've probably heard of them. They are a market-leading shipping software company. They connect order entry, customer service, and accounts receivable into the ERP system to automate the selection of the best carrier based on all the rules of the shipment, dimensional weight, and all the different details that go into cost savings in selecting the best carrier. They are a UPS ready partner. They're a gold FedEx compatible solution provider, and they support a wide range of carriers, including small parcel, regional, and LTL. And so they launched their Acumatica interface in 2016, and they have a long list of mid-market ERP integrations, including Sage and Microsoft Dynamics. And you can visit them in booth number 33 at the Acumatica Summit. And so just a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. Dawn, did you have
Yeah, I just had one other thing to interject in here. We really appreciate all of you being sponsors. APS, Scanco, V Technologies are all sponsors of our summit, so big thank you for that. And I think it was the APS booth that's number, what, 24, I think? I just have to say this. When I first got to Acumatica, my husband runs a raw dog food business, and he was using another credit card processor, and he actually is a real live testimonial for APS and saving money because my husband is actually a customer. So thank you.
That's always nice to hear a real life example.
Yeah.
And it's a small world. Even your husband's affected. So, so the workflow we're going to be talking about today is how the order is placed in Acumatica, and it runs through APS to get you the best rate, credit card processing rate, if the customer chooses to pay by credit card. APS has an integration that will take all the details of the order and automatically select the best rate for that credit card processing function. And then the order goes into Scanco for picking and packing. And then that order flows, all the details of the order flow into StarShip shipping software to automatically select the best carrier based on all those rules that we talked about earlier of the shipment. And then the order flows back into Acumatica, and in accounts receivable is updated. And if at that time the customer wants to use their credit card, then that credit card can be processed and paid for through APS, and it will be shipped out at that time. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Patty to get us started with the demo.
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you, Don, so much for giving us the privilege to be able to sponsor the Acumatica Summit, as well as be one of your endorsed products. And a great big hug and thank you for the reference that you just provided. We really do appreciate you. We appreciate our merchants and definitely working with you, Don. It's also, oh, go ahead. It's also a pleasure to work with Scanco and V Technology StarShip. Our goal today is definitely to show you a seamless integration within Acumatica. You won't feel that you're outside of Acumatica, and how much we as developers rely on the standard Acumatica functionality that has become so important to so many of you partners in offering it to your customers. I'd like to set a brief foundation before I show you exactly where APS will allow you to set up the credit cards within Acumatica. It has to do with level 3 processing. Most of the merchants that we work with are not familiar with level 3 processing. They do not understand why they are getting the rates and fees on their statements. So our goal is to educate them and have them understand exactly where the fees are coming from, making the money work, and last but not least, where exactly there is room for savings. So we usually talk about flat rates. We talk about, and we also talk about interchange plus. Now, if anybody is comfortable with flat rates, that's perfectly fine, but they're missing out on level 3 rates. Variable rates will also allow the processor to decide where they would like to offer the level 3 rates. And with that said, I'd like to explain what level 3 is. It's available for merchants who are processing within the continental U.S. and process a business-to-business or business-to-government transaction. Our solution was written and formatted to work with Acumatica, and it basically relies on Acumatica to pull the fields that Visa and MasterCard require in order to qualify a transaction for level 3 rates. Just so you get an idea, processing a transaction through level 3 will lower your rate from anywhere between 0.5 or 1.50 in the industry, depending on the volume of the transaction. Not only that, But with our level 3 gateway, we offer complete PCI compliance and security, a point-to-point encryption and tokenization, and we definitely eliminate card data that's typically stored on any local server. So level 3 for anyone, we've automated it within Acumatica. You have to ask any processor. If it's available, you want it because you want the lower rates. Just so you get an idea, these are the fields that are required by Visa and MasterCard in order to qualify a transaction for level 3 rates. If typically your rate is 2.85, we can lower it down to 1.65. If a transaction is $7,000 or more, the rates can go as low as 0.05%. Correct, 0.05%. So with that, let me jump into where exactly in Acumatica we're able to set up credit cards. And you could set up credit cards at your heart's content, as many as a customer would need. You simply go to accounts receivable, customer payment methods, and you start adding cards as needed. So I have several cards under a bartender, which is the customer ID, and you can see that we will not show you the full number of the card. Once you type it in, it's basically encrypted, and all we show you are zeros. But we do show you the last 4 digits of the credit card. And you can add as many credit cards, as many credit card types per customer. So I have several for this particular customer, but you can look up at other customers, and that's how simple it is. Once you enter the credit card information, you save it, and it's now stored so that any time that you need to pre-authorize a transaction or capture the funds within Acumatica, you will be able to do so. And we'll jump into that in just a few seconds. I'm going to go ahead now and hand it over to Scanco, Cody. He's going to start with our sales order process.
Awesome. Thank you, Patty. I just want to start off first thanking everyone that is attending the webinar today. We are definitely excited here at Scanco to jump in headfirst into Acumatica. We also, like Don, looked at the registration list and recognized a lot of names and saw a lot of relationships that we've built over the past 20 plus years as we've been in the barcoding industry across multiple ERP systems. So Acumatica was obviously the logical next step for us, and we're really looking forward to working with everyone here, working with your clients, and of course any of the Acumatica clients that are already on the line. We look forward to working with you as well. So what I want to do today is take you through a little bit of what we are offering in the Acumatica space. We are bringing 2 solutions to Acumatica. And it's going to focus, number 1, on warehouse and distribution, which has always been our bread and butter. And then the second piece that we're going to be focusing on is the manufacturing side. And the manufacturing side we're very excited about because this is a product that was brought into the Scanco family just last year. And we are able to expand that across all of the platforms that we integrate with. So on the manufacturing side, I'm just going to touch on that a little bit. Obviously, this webinar is about the distribution, so we're not going to demo manufacturing, but I just want everyone to know what we offer. With integration into JAMS by JOS Systems, we are going to be automating right out of the box your material issues, any of your labor entry, status updates, the completions or production entry, and that is all done through iOS and Android. So by having those mobile devices out in the warehouse, you're going to cut the time that you're spending right now entering all of those transactions substantially, and then also have some real-time views through dashboards to see what's going on, where these jobs sit, and status updates in real time, and make that a lot easier on your production supervisors. So with that said, I'm going to take you through a little bit of the software itself. So let me go ahead and pull that up. And you'll see here that I'm using an Android device, has the screen sharing, and I am logged in to our main screen. So this gives you a good idea of the main transactions that we're automating. So any of your main inventory transactions, from shipping on sales orders, receiving on the purchase order side, physical counts by item, by bin, inventory transactions for transfers, and then we have some miscellaneous utilities such as item inquiry or item locators. And that's going to be the first place I start. So if I go into utilities, you'll see this gives the user a few options. Number one is a locator. So if I'm out in the warehouse and I need to see where an item is, I can just tap on that locator by item. It knows the warehouse location that I typically work in based on my login and my profile. And I can type in an item with the keyboard. We can do a lookup, or we can just scan an item, and that will instantly get the information out of Acumatica and show me where the item's located. So this item's just in the one bin location. And then it's going to show me the quantity available and the quantity on hand. So if obviously we have some that are already being shipped, it will make sure that that's known, so we're not out there looking for pieces that aren't in the actual bin location. We'll go ahead and back out here. On the inventory side, you'll see we're going to have inventory transfers in, transfers out. Physical count, we'll do physical count by bin, physical count by item. On our receiving side, right now we do receiving by order and receiving by item. So whatever your process is, this is going to be able to mirror that and automate that process back into Acumatica and make sure that we're validating everything in real time and creating those receipts immediately. So we're going to go ahead into sales order. And the sales order fulfillment is the transaction we're going to use to give the user out in the warehouse the ability to validate that sales order, to make sure they're shipping the right items, and that we have the right quantities going to the customer. Once again, when we go in, I of course have to enter a sales order number. I can type that in, but what we're seeing is a lot of our customers are just adding barcodes to their pick sheets, and that allows the user to just scan the sales order. So if I go ahead and scan a sales order number, it's going to validate instantly, give me the information for that sales order. And I can also have a list of everything on that sales order, as far as the item, the description, how many are ordered, how many I have left to pick, and also we display the quantity available. And as you see, this is a sortable list, so if you have multiple items, you can sort that or filter that, and the user could even use that as their paper list pick ticket. We'll go ahead and scan our item. When I scan the item, it does display the unit of measure, and we do support multiple units of measure. So if you need to change that, you will have the capability from the handheld to handle multiple units of measure. And we also offer multiple ways to scan. So you'll notice an option here called Scan Each. When it's off, we scan an item and type in a quantity. If we enable that option, that's going to allow the user to just scan the items, and it will accept each scan basically as a quantity of one. So think of it as the grocery store when you're just scanning everything that goes by, and it accumulates if you have multiple quantities. So in this instance, it's telling me that I still have 2 of 2 to pick. So I can go ahead and enter my quantity. You'll see that that took that successfully. If we go back into the lookup, you'll notice that that line has changed colors, indicating that it has been shipped or picked in full. And then from here, we have the ability to go in and review our transactions. So if the user, for some reason, typed in a wrong quantity or just wanted to see where they've left off, they could go in and review, and they do have some editing capabilities from there. Or if we are done, we can just go ahead and hit confirm. And at that point, that's going to send the information, create it, the shipment in Acumatica. And from there, you'll be able to process the order the rest of the way through StarShip. So at this point, we can go ahead and pass that over to StarShip. And if I could have you do that, Adrian, for some reason my mouse is not letting me click over there. Thank you.
Thanks, Cody. This is Caroline. I'm going to be showing StarShip. So once Cody finishes up the shipment there, it picks it or packs it up. We're going to grab that shipment from Acumatica. So let's just take a look at what that looks like in Acumatica before we ship it, so you can see a before picture of the shipment. So I'm going to bring a shipment up for that bartender customer. And you'll see here that the package has already been created. So this will be created automatically along with the shipment by the Scanco solution. And everything else is really going to be defaulting as far as what came from the order already. So there's some ship vias here, and then of course the Lego pack that we're going to be shipping. So that's what it looks like now. Let's go ahead and ship it, and then we'll show you what the result is. So in StarShip, this is the main shipping screen. This is where you will start your shipping process for any of your shipments that you have. StarShip does support a combination of small package, regional, and LTL carriers. So I'm just going to browse my shipments here, and I'm going to grab this one for the Bartender Association. You can also scan that shipment number in. You can type it in, or you can browse for it like I showed you. And from the browse screen, you also have the ability then to do some batch processing if you wanted to. But in this instance, I'm just going to bring the shipment up. And in StarShip, over on the left-hand side, you'll just see an overview of the shipment header level detail. So in this case, my ship via is translating to UPS ground with freight pricing. And I'm the sender, and here's that recipient, the bartending school. And then you'll also see here that my package that was defined using the Scanco solution is being shown in my packaging view. And if I drill into that, you'll be able to see the items that we have here. So this was the item that Cody picked. From here, if you wanted to you could do a rate shop. StarShip, like I said, does support the multi-carrier, multi-mode. And you'll be able to see that I have a combination of UPS, FedEx, Post Office in this case. If I did have LTL carriers loaded and this was available for an LTL shipment, you'd be able to see those as well. And it looks like actually UPS ground is coming up quite as the least expensive option here and getting there by Friday the 27th. So I'm going to go ahead and pick FedEx ground. This can be automated. If you wanted StarShip to rate shop in the background and select the best carrier in service based on your parameters, you can do that. Or you can do what I just showed you is more of a manual method to that. So once I pick FedEx ground, I'm just going to ship and process this one. When I process it, StarShip will generate the barcoded shipping labels. It'll communicate with the carrier, and it'll also update Acumatica in real time and basically update the shipment that was created using Scanco. So here's my packing list. This is an example of just one of the outputs that's available through StarShip. We call this our smart label. It's a combination packing list plus shipping label. This would be printed to an 8.5 by 11, where the shipping label would be in a little die cut area. This packing list can also be printed to a thermal label printer. So if you wanted to print both your shipping label and packing list to a 4 by 6, 7, or 8 inch label, you can do that. Or you can print the packing list to a laser and have the shipping label go to a thermal. You have quite a few combinations here. And then just to know also, StarShip can produce the 128 label if we do have any EDI customers, or if you have any customers that have EDI requirements, and StarShip does communicate to a number of EDI solutions. So you can print all that at the same time. And now you're really ready to process your next shipment. It's a pretty simple process here. I wanted to go back into Acumatica though and take a look at that shipment that we just shipped against so that we can see how StarShip updated that. So let's bring up this 1636. And if I go into my packages now, you'll see that what was once just the Lego box ID here is now showing you the information that's been updated through StarShip. So the tracking information, and then these reference numbers, this is all actually user definable as far as which fields show up here. But I decided to put in the ship via and also the estimated delivery date so that you could quickly see this from this packaging view. StarShip also supports updating the notes field. So if you wanted to add additional shipment detail to the note, you could do that. And this is completely customizable as far as which fields would show up there. And then on the shipping settings, You'll notice that the ship via has been updated to show FedEx Ground, and that the cost as well as the amount have both been updated. So in this case, $16.96 is actually my negotiated rate that FedEx is charging me. So when I was in StarShip and I ran that rate shop, StarShip actually communicated directly to the carrier using my account's credentials, and I could see my most relevant negotiated rate at that point. So this is what we're writing back to the freight cost here, and this freight amount is actually a number that can be defined by you. StarShip has freight rules, so it allows you to define how and when the freight is calculated. So I think mine I just have set to the published rate or the list rate for the carrier. But if I did want to add or maybe give a discount based on the customer name or based on the shipment total, you could add additional rules such as that, and it would automatically calculate it and set this freight amount to whatever you need it to be. And the last thing I wanted to note here is that StarShip can also update the status to confirmed. So initially this was an open shipment, and then once we shipped it, I had StarShip update the status. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Patty so she can talk about charging the customer after everything's been shipped.
Thank you, Caroline. And I do want to just mention once again that we rely heavily on the information that's being compiled by Scanco as well as V-Technology StarShip in order to qualify a transaction for level 3 rates. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I lost the invoice we were working on, and everyone were working on different systems, so you'll see the numbers a little bit scattered here. But I basically am taking it off from when Caroline has already accepted the shipping amount and we're ready to invoice. One of the things that you can do is take advantage of the pre-authorization. So you can pre-authorize the transaction before you invoice, and the pre-authorization length of time can be valid for anywhere, and please everyone who's on the webinar, listen to this, anywhere between 7 and 30 days. Now the reason I'm underlining this is because we are the only processor that will allow a pre-authorization to be valid for such a lengthy amount of time. And this is due to our merchants requesting that we provide them with an extended amount of time due to their manufacturing process or delivery process. So please note, pre-authorizations are valid anywhere between 7 and 30 days, you decide. Now I've pre-authorized the transaction. I'd like to show you briefly what the transaction looks so far like in our portal. So the portal is very straightforward. You can also process transactions through the APS portal if you wish to. We will be updating anything that you process within Acumatica directly to our portal, referencing the order number or invoice number, and giving you a bird's eye view of the transaction while also allowing you to drill down into the transaction, and we actually allow you to drill down to the very line level detail. So in this particular case, we've already taken the shipping amount and pre-authorized the transaction with the shipping amount. What I'm going to do right now is either decide whether it's going to be voided or captured. If I decide to capture, notice how simple it is. Right now, the transaction is going through our gateway, our secured gateway. It's verifying the funds are still there and bringing the funds over so that if you batch out at the end of the day, by 9 p.m. Eastern Time, you will have the funds that we just captured available in your bank account the next morning by 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The information that you see on the left side of the screen is the credit card information that I chose as a default for this particular customer. So really, we give you all of the options, as I mentioned, within Acumatica. You can also apply payments towards any open invoice. So if you have customers who are on terms, for example, you can apply these payments to open invoices directly. And the one last thing I'd like to mention, I usually like to show everyone a lot of the different challenges that we hear from our merchants and how we address them. So one of the biggest complaints is the fact that our merchants do not understand their current statements. They don't know where exactly they would qualify for level 3. They don't understand why they're getting the fees they're getting. We would love the opportunity to provide you with a free analysis of your current rates and fees and explain to you exactly what the fees on your statement mean, where they're coming from, and how you'll be able to save the money. Once we do that, we also provide you with our proposed rates. By the way, we guarantee our rates in writing, so you don't have to worry about the rates creeping up on you down the line. We also provide assistance for PCI compliance at no charge. Many processors have a third-party company that does the PCI compliance for them, and you get charged $35, $75 a month or per year. We do this for free, and we make sure that either you become PCI compliant or remain PCI compliant. I've explained level 3, but definitely a key factor is that it is completely automated. We've eliminated the need for you to manually have to key in the 13 or 16 fields that Visa and MasterCard require in order to give you the lower rates. We do not charge for installation, implementation, or training. We also provide maintenance for the software and support at no charge. There are very simple gateway fees that we offer, $10 for the gateway and $5 for statement fee, and it never increases no matter what the volume of your account is. I mentioned that we do offer 12-hour funding. I do have to also mention the fact that we've offered 4-hour funding, depending on the volume of the account. And last but not least, we do have a dedicated support team. We do not have an automated system on purpose because we guarantee that every time you call 24/7, 365 days a year, you will have a live human being on the other side of the line. I'm not going to go through the rest of the information that's on here, but I think it's key that you know that no matter what, we do offer to teach you how and what to ask any processor out there to guarantee the lowest rates in the industry for you. And last but not least, we also help with cancellation fees. So if you want to know or are curious about learning a little bit more about what's going on with your existing processor, let us know. If you decide to make the switch, we will definitely gladly help you with your cancellation fees. And with that, Adrian, I'd like to hand it back over to you. I don't know if you have any polls or anything that you might, or questions.
I do, and I also have a screen I'd like to share with everyone that has everybody's contact information. So Dawn introduced herself at the beginning. She's the Director of Partner Recruiting at Acumatica. And if you're not an Acumatica partner yet and you'd like to learn more about the partner program, we have Dawn's contact information up. And Patty just got done speaking about American Payment Solutions and their credit card processing solution. We have her contact information and Cody's contact information. That's his direct line. And Matt St. John over at StarShip, he represents the Acumatica interfaces. So I'm going to go ahead. We have a couple questions here. I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll. If you could just take a second to answer this poll, that would be awesome. So we have a couple questions from Tony. Thank you so much for your questions, Tony. Tony would like to learn a little bit more about the StarShip user interface and how that works, Caroline. It's not in Acumatica, or does it call out to StarShip from Acumatica and then pull the information back into StarShip?
Thanks, Adrian. Thanks, Tony. Good question. With StarShip's integration to Acumatica, we use the Acumatica APIs to access the Acumatica data outside of Acumatica. We chose that for a couple of reasons. One, it stays consistent with the other interfaces that we have to other ERP systems. So a lot of our customers that were using StarShip with another solution are now moving over to Acumatica, and it keeps that consistent workflow. But also, and maybe more importantly, we often receive feedback from customers that they don't necessarily want their shippers to have to be in Acumatica in order to process shipments. So by offering it totally outside of Acumatica, it gives them the ability to have their shippers just in the shipping user interface without having to even open up Acumatica. I had Acumatica open and kind of minimized in order to kind of show you the before and after picture of what happens with the shipment and the shipment in StarShip and the shipment in Acumatica. But from a a real-life scenario that on the shipping machine, typically Acumatica isn't even running there. They'll just have StarShip running there and accessing Acumatica directly.
And I just want to remind everybody that we do have a poll open, and I see that 35% of you have voted. So we're hoping to get all of the audience to participate here in answering this poll. That would be great. And we have another question for Scanco, Cody, from Michael. Thank you, Michael, for your question. We have a few from Michael. Can Scanco print bar-coded labels on a PO receipt?
So that, I think I need a little more clarification. We do have label printing that we will be using with Acumatica. But as far as printing labels on a PO receipt, if you're just referring to printing them during the receipt process, that's one thing. Or if you're referring to having a PO receipt document with extra labels, that would be handled differently. So short answer is yes, we have label printing, but we just need to discuss exactly how you need that to happen.
And Michael, we'll be back in touch with you after the webinar to elaborate on your specific question there. And Michael does have another question for StarShip. Caroline, is integration to DHL and Pilot Logistics available?
Hey, Michael, thanks for the question. We do integrate to DHL. We offer that as a carrier module. Pilot Logistics isn't a carrier or 3PL that we currently connect to. The one 3PL that StarShip does connect to would be Freight Quote. Outside of that, we're really offering direct connections to the carriers themselves, which would mean that your customers may have negotiated rates with a particular carrier, and we're bringing those in. If your customers have cases where they need to ship LTL on the customer on their customer's behalf, or what we call bill recipient or bill third party in the shipping world, you could do that. You could use something called our BOL module. It's basically a user-defined module that allows you to create any number or define any number of SCACs or carrier codes inside of StarShip, and then from there we can keep the workflow consistent by helping generate the BOL, bring that information back to Acumatica without having that direct electronic connection to the carrier for rating and tendering, if that makes sense.
And we have another question from Michael. Can label be attached to shipment on package tab for reprint like standard Acumatica carrier integration?
We don't attach the label to that tab. I mean, you can definitely go back into StarShip and reprint a label if that is required. So you can do that from within StarShip.
And we have 73% of you who have voted. Thank you so much for voting on this poll we have up here. If we could get a few more to vote, that would be awesome. And I'm not seeing any more questions. I have a couple questions here that I think I passed over. And we will be sharing the PowerPoint file. Thank you, Tony, for this question. And the recording. After this presentation, you will receive an email from Adrian at ERP VAR that contains all of the links to the YouTube recording after the presentation and all the contact information. And I think that does it. We don't have any other questions. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Don, Patty, Cody, and Matt, and Caroline. I'm going to go ahead and close out this poll and share the results here. And we had 75% of you vote. Thank you for that participation. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We know that time is hard to come by these days, and it looks like we have 19 minutes to spare. And I do have the contact information if everyone wants to just take down the respective information that you're interested in learning more about. I have Don's contact information, Patty, Cody's, and Matt's, and they'd love to hear from you. And we hope to see you at the show this starting on Sunday in San Diego, beautiful San Diego.
If anybody registered yet for Summit, there's still time to do that. And I have to also thank our wonderful ISVs for this great presentation and the time that took to prepare for it. It was a great job by everyone. Thanks for the audience for your interest in having us get back in touch with you after the fact. And Adrian, this is great. Do we know when the next one is? I think we're having another.
Yes, we're going to have an encore presentation to this webinar on February 14th. So if everyone wants to join us then, we're going to be gathering once more just to review everything after the summit.
Great. And be sure to visit the APS Scanco and StarShip booths at Summit and enter for that great prize. Thank you all for sponsoring that too. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate your sponsorship of Summit itself.
So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you on Sunday. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Cody, Patty, Caroline, did you guys have any closing remarks?
No, I just want to say
thank you. Did it. Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.
See you in San Diego.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Safe travels.